All right, and welcome to Forgotten Popcorn, where we talk about movies that have made us forget eating our popcorn. Today we're talking about Christopher Nolan and all his movies, and what an amazing director he is. We'll get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect intro. Just like the old days.
Nailed it.
Just like the old days. Oh, man.
Didn't have any,
little throwback there. It's been a while, but exciting. If there are people here right now, if there are any issues that occur immediately, let us know. This is the first time we're doing an actual live event, not not just regular recordings. It's a lot different, but it's going to be a lot of fun, I think. I think we're all excited for this. So yeah, as you said, Alvaro, freaking Nolan, man. Of course, big live event. Everybody's excited, right? And the first thing we talk about is Nolan.
I mean, it has to be, right? The amount of times we bring him up in regular videos.
Yeah, seriously. There you go. Immediately, Oppenheimer reference, the immediate start, right? You gotta keep the tradition alive, right? But I thought we would just start with a walkthrough of all of his films. I mean, how many does he have? 12 feature films or so?
12 now, yeah.
Yeah, crazy amount. That's just too many.
And each one's a banger.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of any other filmography, if you look at any other director, you're just this is nobody can do it as well, right?
Yeah.
It's just kind of he's the best at it.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say banger for each one, but they're definitely at least good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the minimum, every single movie is good. He has maybe 2 that I'd put in that category. The rest is more than above good.
But I feel the only time you can really go, oh, that really wasn't that great, is when you're really comparing it against his other films, right? So it's if you're doing that, then clearly they're a good director, right? But so I guess we'll start with Following. Now, I didn't get a chance to watch this because it was on some British streaming service that I didn't want to pay $12.99 for.
Fair enough.
I was it's not my priority for him because it's his first feature film.
Yeah.
I find Memento's more that sort of he had some really big names
more
in
of
that.
his first.
Yeah, in comparison to maybe Following, not The Following. But Alvaro, you saw it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much didn't see the last 20 minutes-ish or 15 minutes, but it's pretty good. It's pretty darn good for his first feature film. It's insane. And I'm pretty sure he only had a budget of $6,000 or $3,000, something like that he paid out of his own money.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, he's his own pocket. So he paid, a bunch of college actors and stuff like that, wrote up a script and got to it. Story pretty much follows some dude that wants to basically,
he's a wannabe writer.
Exactly. And he encounters another guy that does some, I guess, stealing, and he kind of follows his steps. I guess that's all I'll say, so I don't want to spoil it for you too much. But I guess
you haven't finished it either.
And I didn't finish
so you don't
it.
actually know.
No, that's full ending.
How it gets. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but
you saw it, okay.
Yeah, I saw the whole thing.
All right.
And I mean, typical Nolan, there's a pretty good twist there at the end. Not going to say much more because I'm not sure if anyone actually who's watching has seen it. It is
do we want to spoil those types of things for the viewers? I don't know.
I also don't really want to spoil it for you guys because I do think you guys will go watch it.
Yeah, I will.
So it is pretty good, especially for a first. You can really see that it is his first, visually. It's very experimental, almost student film-ish. But it was really cool to see his first steps into filmmaking.
Yeah, I mean, he's just so good at it somehow.
Right from the start. I don't know.
Right away, there's clearly a special quality that from him that just come on, it's not fair. But I find it isn't. It really isn't. 'Cause think about all the directors out there that are always, there's a bunch of new directors out there who are really great but don't get a lot of chances. I feel Nolan started at a point where it was sort of more accepted to allow these new directors to have a chance, right? Give away even a couple $1 million, at that time was a lot. So to have a small budget to start it off, considering now it's a small budget, but back then maybe it was, a good chunk of money, right? So, you look at all the directors now and it's always the same directors for everything nowadays. There's not a lot of and the only time you get new stuff is YouTube. That's the place to find new feature films and things like that. It's really great that way, but I don't know.
Yeah. But back to Nolan.
Yeah. No, it sort of encapsulates the idea that Nolan's really good at what he does. Clearly was made for this, right? I mean, come on. I mean, going into his next one, right? Memento is just that much better. I mean, again, I hadn't seen The Fall, but I don't know. Memento, as in my view, is his first feature film. It's pretty good. You get a little bit of like, you get a little bit of Black and White, you get a bit of Oppenheimer, you get a little bit of Tenet with the reverse, you get a little bit of everything.
The timeline, like
there's
trickery.
Yeah. It's very good.
It's very smart. And I think that's what the movie is. Mostly, it's just a smart movie where you literally have to watch it probably twice to really get it. I mean, first time you watch it, you're like, okay, what happened?
You understand?
Yeah.
Well,
like you understand, but you want to understand it better.
Your brain's like, I know what happened. I know how it ends, but what? Like how? It's like the second I finished it, I texted you guys. I was like, I need to watch this like 5 more times to actually understand, because what the hell did I just watch?
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I felt at one point in the movie, I was just kind of going, ooh, what's happening? Because there's okay, again, we're not going to try to spoil too much because we implore you to like watch these movies. They're great. But there are, like I said, there's black and white in it, and there's sequences, and that starts to kind of screw with you a little bit because you're not entirely sure at what point that's supposed to be initially. So and the same thing when I watched Oppenheimer for the first time, I'm like, okay, what's the purpose, the meaning behind it? You quickly gather what it is. But in this movie, I found it took me a while to sort of figure it out. But I feel like near the end of the movie is when it's used the most. So that's when you start to like connect the dots. Yeah,
when like it clearly speeds up like the chunks that are in color and the chunks that are black and white. At first it's like maybe like 5-minute scenes, and then at one point it becomes like almost 30 seconds. And it's like boom, 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 boom. That's when it's like, oh, okay, I see what's happening now.
Yeah, it's a smart movie.
It's crazy. And it's a story written by his brother. I don't know if you guys saw that at the beginning credits. It was directed by Christopher Nolan, based on a story by Jonathan Nolan. I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, him and his brother worked together for everything else after that, right? I mean, like, keep it in the family, I guess. I don't know. Like his wife, and then, he's the big director. I mean, she's the reason he's in it. I mean, we'll talk about that real quick. I mean, like, give some credit where it's, due. What's Emma
Thomas.
Thank you. Yeah. She's the reason really that he's here, because, she like pushed him to like, hey, you're good at this, do it, sort of thing. Right. So thank God for that. But him, his brother, and her just like create such like perfect movies, and now they have their company, right? Syncopy so. What's the next one on Nolan's list? Is it Batman already after that? I don't remember. There's something right before it.
I think it was the first Batman, then Insomnia.
I think something like that, right?
Insomnia's 2002. So
might be right before it. Oh no, I think it might be right after. I think it'd
be Insomnia, then Batman Begins.
Yeah, and you'd think we know this, guys.
Yep, it's Insomnia, then Batman Begins.
We implore people who are here to chat with us. We see some of you guys are here. I know both of you, both good friends of ours, are here in the chat. So thank you for participating. If you have any questions that we have probably talked your ear off already, but anybody who isn't a good friend of ours and wants to say anything, feel free to say something and interact if you have any questions, or I know a fun fact that we don't know. I'd be impressed if we don't know it, because
at this point
we love Nolan. So
don't know what you're talking about.
No, okay.
No. He's kind of mid, actually.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I kind of prefer
never. Yeah, who do you prefer, Alvaro?
Never mind.
So what was the next one in his
Insomnia. It's the only one that I haven't been able to like actually watch. So
I mean,
I won't really partake too much, but I know the premise of the movie, but that's the only one I won't be commenting too much on, I guess I'll say. But,
I mean, it's not a bad movie. It's, if you look at all of his films, at least up until this point, right? We only have 2 feature films. It's a step back a little bit.
I think so too.
It's not as good as, especially Memento. Like, that's a really great movie, and then you watch this and you're like, okay, like I could see it's a different style a little bit for him. He's trying something a little bit different. Still the same kind of mind-boggling sort of scenario, because thus the name Insomnia, right? So our main character doesn't sleep. He's a detective. He's brought in to solve a murder, and so like he just doesn't sleep the entire
for like
time.
What, a week or something?
For like a week, yeah. It's not like
crazy.
A long time. Well, it's a long time not to sleep, but it starts to take an effect on him and everything like that. And then obviously we have Robin Williams as a villain technically, but he's not really a villain in the movie, the way that it's sort of drawn out. But it was fun to see him in that role, and he's always good in everything, regardless.
Of course. But yeah, like you said, it's nothing crazy. Kind of a step back from Memento. It's basically like if you've seen any other crime thriller,
That's it.
You know what to expect. You know what's gonna happen, and this doesn't really break any barriers. It doesn't do anything new really, other than the whole no sleeping. But like, it's still good. That's the thing. That's the thing about Nolan. Even though we're saying it's kind of a dud, and like in his filmography, it's still a good movie. Like, it's definitely not bad.
Yeah, no. It's like you said, comparing it to others, it's a good movie. I would still recommend people to watch it. But I would, if you're really looking for top Nolan, you just go a little bit further after that, and then it's just like
this one. It's at the bottom of my ranking for Nolan films. I have Insomnia at last.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it. Again, I missing one movie of his, one feature film, I should say. Then I can say for sure, maybe, but I don't know. I might have another spot for that bottom.
Uh-oh.
Maybe we'll talk about it.
I think I know exactly what
we'll
it is.
Get there. We'll get there.
So we've now passed through Insomnia, which means I believe it's the first Batman now.
It is.
Yeah, Batman Begins.
That's it.
Do I need to pull it up here? You guys know it?
I have it on my phone too.
Yeah, perfect.
Anything. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, so the first Batman, I mean, I think this is, whoops, sorry, I just smacked the mic. I think this is the first movie where you really could see Nolan's love for using VFX rather than CGI. Yeah. And because there's a really great documentary on YouTube. You can watch the whole thing. It's like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. Of course, Nolan, like almost a full-length film for just a behind the scenes. But, it shows like all the Dark Knights, and he goes through everything that he did, and they talk about it a lot. And especially in the first one, there are a lot of models and things like that. And it's like really trying to bring, that environment to life without using as much CGI, because there still is some, but it's really cool.
It's been a while since I've seen that whole trilogy, especially Batman Begins. I think I've only seen that movie once, actually.
Oh, damn. Okay.
But it's definitely like the great start to what is probably one of the best trilogies, right? Like his whole Dark Knight is crazy, especially the second one there, The Dark Knight. It's, oh my God.
I mean, yeah, how can you even right? We can do talk about that for hours, right? And I see why you skip over the first one, right? Because why would you watch the first one when the second one is so good? And to be fair, not a lot of people really want to watch, the whole story arc of who Batman is again.
We know. It's
we're kind of tired of it.
Right?
Yeah.
We know the story.
Yeah. So let's just get into it. No need to waste. If we really want to watch, but he has to give his opportunity, right?
Of course,
we have to, he has to build his world, right? That's how it goes, right? Imagine Cillian Murphy as Batman,
No way.
It could have been. It was so close.
I mean, he did. Yeah,
he did the self tape.
Right?
Yeah, the audition. Yeah. So close. That could have been something else. No, but Bale is Batman, right?
Yes.
I mean, come on.
I honestly don't think anybody else could have taken that role
at the time.
Opinion. Yeah.
No, not with the way Nolan wanted to interpret it, the way he wanted to envision sort of like that environment and that type of Bruce Wayne and Batman, combo. As we always talk about for superheroes, they have their normal life and their superhero, and it's always hard to get both sides of it, because sometimes they're really good at being the young teenager, like talking Tom Holland, sort of thing, but maybe he's not such a good Spider-Man, in some people's opinion, my opinion, and
okay.
we get it.
That's a different episode.
It's an episode you can go watch right now after the stream, but yeah, you talk about that, and then you look at Bale as both, and I think they kind of nailed it. At least that's the way I would interpret Bruce Wayne at that point of sort of the way we're looking at it.
I think honestly, it's the perfect way for Bruce Wayne, as you said it. Because for Batman, I mean, you could have definitely found somebody else that was bulkier or something like that, right? I mean, Batman is portrayed as this big guy, right, in a cloak. Ben Affleck was an incredible Batman, I find, but Christian Bale, amazing Bruce Wayne. Come on, having that whole slick back hair, that look coming in, walking with models. I don't think I could ever picture somebody else like that, coming out of Lamborghini.
It's after American Psycho, right? So there's no doubt no one saw that and went, okay, that's the look. Just him in that is all
that's all you need.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No,
I'm just trying to think of anything else to say about it. But Christian Bale was honestly such a great role, great pick, and then having Liam Neeson just show up randomly too is just
right? What the
what's up?
Yeah. What?
You were in Star Wars, now you're on this. What's up?
This guy dominated the early 2000s crazy.
And then what happened to him, Alex?
Oh man, go you guys again. You can go watch a video on the channel. Poor Liam Neeson. He has nothing to prove. He's a god among. But yeah, I mean, the Batmans are great, all of them. I mean, we get a bit of a break between the first Batman and then we get
Prestige.
Prestige.
The Prestige.
That's pretty good as well, actually.
That's an insane film.
Another
actually.
great cast as well. Like,
really, like after Insomnia is when people are like, okay, I want to work with this guy, because right then he had Al Pacino, Robin Williams, so it's like, then he's just able to get any name in Hollywood apparently. Just send them a quick letter, not an email.
Yes,
a letter.
Cannot send him an email.
Yeah.
That's right.
Show up at your house.
Yeah.
Read the script in front of me. Let's see what you like.
That must be no, I'd never be able to do that. Chris Nolan just sitting there like watching you read a script.
I mean, to be fair, if Nolan calls you and wants you in a movie,
You answer,
like they all
though.
say,
Well,
you
yeah.
answer, you go. It doesn't matter, right? I mean, and you will read the script in front of him, no matter how intimidating that might be.
I wonder if he's like actually like staring you down. Is he like
feel
at the table with you, just watching
I
you
think he's
read
such a
it?
nice guy. He's just sitting on the side, reading a book or something,
Yeah.
sipping some coffee, and then just waiting for you to
Writing
be
his
done.
Writing his
Yeah,
next
writing
movie.
his next movie, being
Yeah.
like,
I mean,
how's it going over there? But yeah, I mean, Prestige. You got Hugh Jackman. You got. I'm always gonna.
Sorry,
But
I just
yeah.
want to. I was just reading the chat and. Someone by the name of Maddie in the chat, I don't know if we know that person, was said the Prestige was really slow.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's slow to build up, I guess, but like at the beginning only. But like, it's definitely a movie about magic. It's just you have to be intrigued in the characters and their rivalry, right? That's the whole movie.
Yeah.
It's just a rivalry of two friends. And if you're not intrigued in the rivalry, then you're done. Like you're not intrigued in the whole movie
100%.
at all.
Yeah.
But you got Michael Caine. That's the name I was looking for. You got Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale. Insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wait, so he did like 3 movies back to back with Christian Bale. I never pieced that together.
Yeah.
That's so.
4?
Well, 'cause
Is it 4? It might be 4.
was Dark Knight Rises right
Because
after?
I think it was like
Dark
right
Knight?
after it. Yeah, I don't think he did anything.
No,
in between.
Inception.
Oh, Inception
Inception
was
would've been in
yeah.
between.
Yes, you're right.
Bale should have been in that.
Bale should have been
Could you imagine?
Bale in every movie.
But yeah, I mean, Prestige is kind of one of those movies you come across. You're like, oh, is this made by Nolan? Cool. And then you watch and you're like,
Makes sense.
yeah, makes sense. Yeah, exactly. It's like right on par for his brand. He knows exactly what he's doing with it.
Yeah. We got another comment from, I think it's that Sir Isaac Newton. Interstellar is the best of his movies. I mean, we're going to get into it. We're going to
Not
get into
there
it.
yet.
Yeah,
Not
Don't
there yet.
worry. We'll get into it.
It is. It is. Potentially. I don't know. I don't know. Grease the wheels, guys. But no, yeah, Prestige, and then we finally have the next Batman.
Now we
after
get
that.
to the Dark Knight.
I mean,
we get to Heath Ledger. And,
I mean,
oh
come on.
boy,
Like,
It's,
one of the best performances ever given.
yeah, what else can you
Yeah,
say?
The
pretty much.
dedication he put into that role is just ridiculous.
yeah. And you have Nolan, who pretty much is doing all these, like you said, visual effects and like having trucks flips upside down
Yeah.
and like endangering the lives of people around him.
Yep.
And it's everybody's like, yeah, I kind of still want to do this because it looks real.
Yeah, I
And,
think
yeah.
I think Dark Knight has. I don't know factually if this is correct, but from what I saw from behind the scenes, it does have a fair amount of CGI in it. But it has to be done because of the way that
you have to.
Yeah, there's certain things you can't do. You can't throw Bale off a building, Although I think there are a few shots in the
Tom
movie.
Cruise be like,
Yo, literally.
Could you imagine?
Just like jump out of a building or jump out of a plane. Yeah, I'm
Oh my
done.
god. But no, Tom Cruise is too short. He couldn't play.
What a call out. It's literally unprecedented for no reason right now, but okay.
I mean, but it's true. It's true. I mean, they would have faked it anyways, but it's fine. That's true. The only CGI Nolan does make people look taller. No, but in it, there's a couple of shots that are clearly VFX from him, and like the pacing of this movie is really, in my opinion, is what works so well. And the pacing, and on top of that, some Hans Zimmer in there.
of course.
How can we not talk?
Yeah.
At that point?
Was that his first Zimmer collaboration?
Well, no, I think he did
Batman Begins.
Batman Begins.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. I don't think he
Before
worked
that?
on.
Nope.
Definitely didn't work on Memento. Didn't work on.
Definitely
the
not
only
following.
one maybe Prestige. He might have worked on.
I'm checking right now.
That's
for
the only one because
Prestige,
other than
but-
after that, we have quite a few movies with him, obviously. But
Yeah, quite
pretty
a
much his
few.
partner in crime from that point going forward, right? I mean, he's just him and Hans Zimmer are just like a duo that's
You cannot stop them.
yeah.
No, it was David Julian.
Okay.
Okay, so it started off with The Dark Knight.
But he did
Dark Knight trilogy.
He worked with David Julian for Memento, Prestige, Following, and Insomnia. So that was, I guess.
Okay, so literally anytime Hans Zimmer's not available, it was him, and then
Now we have Ludwig.
we have Ludwig. Yeah, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, now thinking back at it, the other movies. Yeah, at that point, maybe in The Prestige is a bit of that iconic like Nolan soundtrack that you kind of expect from his movies, but up until then, I don't think anything really caught my eye. Like
even The Prestige just didn't. I don't remember it.
Yeah. No.
I meant to rewatch it, but I just didn't have the time because I haven't seen that in probably 2-3 years at this point. But to me, like a lot of people rate it really highly. To me, it was okay. Like it was good. Again, like an okay Nolan movie, but definitely good. Near the bottom though for me, but I don't really remember it that well.
Yeah.
So I can't really.
Yeah. So many movies from Nolan are so good. It's just like a movie like this, like Prestige, where it's incredibly intriguing and like, you know, it's incredibly well done. Like I said, a rivalry between two friends. And then you kind of have to put it a bit lower on your list.
You can't help but compare it to his other work.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just not quite there. That's
no 100%.
Yeah.
But
absolutely. Okay, so what movie were we at? We were at
Prestige.
Oh
no,
we had started Dark Knight.
Dark Knight. Right. Oh yeah, we're going back to Dark Knight.
We talked about the attempt for as minimal VFX as possible. It's incredible that he's able to do that much, but there is obviously another movie that is even
we'll get there.
Better.
We'll get there.
Can't help myself.
No skipping 10 years in the future here.
Is it 10 years at that point?
Almost.
Like we're at Dark Knight. No, it's
Dark
closer
Knight?
to
That's
like
09, right? Or 09?
it's like 08. So a couple more years, but
oh god, 15.
But yeah, I mean, then caught me off guard with that. What else to say about The Dark Knight? I mean, you gotta watch those as a Nolan fan.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to think outside of, obviously it's Batman. We all want to talk about that. I mean, we could talk about the performances and everything, but Nolan's vision of Batman at that point is really unique at that point, right? I mean, now we have the Matt Reeves version and everything like that. It's really great for those who like that. I mean, personally, I like the balance in sort of Nolan's films, the way that he shows it. And portrays Gotham itself, but I do agree that like it's not comic book accurate, which is fine. No. But I'm not a huge comic book Batman fan, so I don't care as much as others would from that perspective. But I think Nolan's sort of perspective, having like a superhero like Batman in a very realistic portrayal of a city that you would be in, you know, other than maybe a couple of things here and there that don't make sense. That's what I like, and I enjoyed it that way.
Definitely just looks like downtown Toronto or like New York.
Yeah,
literally.
I mean, that's what it's supposed to be at the end of the day, right? It's just like New York, this big financial city in a way where all the rich billionaire CEOs live, but then you have like the complete opposite side where there's crime and all that. But yeah, no, the Matt Reeves vision, the fact that it's so different to Nolan's is what I really like the constantly raining dark, and then the depressed Bruce Wayne. He took like the complete opposite side of the spectrum from Nolan, and it's really cool to see, and I'm really curious to see how it's going to keep going, because he's really built up a world there, and he's expanding a lot on it with like TV shows and stuff. Like they're making a Penguin TV show on HBO, which is just going to be so cool to see Colin Farrell back in that. I'm really excited.
No, I agree, but I'm thinking about Nolan here, obviously. It's like, really? I mean, yeah, listen, I'm thinking about opening scenes in his movies, and like obviously Dark Knight has like probably the most iconic opening scene.
Yeah.
And I really can't. The opening scene in, I'm trying to think of the last Batman, what it was. I watched it recently and I can't remember what it was.
Last Batman was pretty much the introduction to Bane, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah.
Or was that a bit towards? Oh no,
that was like more middle of the film. What was the introduction to it? Well, there was something.
Or no, it's Bruce Wayne in that prison. No.
Is he there already? One. That is the first one. Where the first one is
right, and then Ra's al Ghul gets him.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Oh man, how does the
I don't remember necessarily how it opens. It's been a bit of time since I watched it, but no more than 3 months, so that's kind of bad. I can't remember. But it kind of goes to show that like Nolan can do good intros, because we've talked about it on the channel before about certain directors who, you know, can really tell a story in the first like 15 minutes, and that's really important for some people.
Quentin.
Yeah, and I'm talking about Tarantino here, who Inglourious Basterds is like a prime example of how to open up a movie. But Dark Knight definitely pushes that
bank heist.
Like that's such a good intro to your main villain, which really shows his confidence in the actors that he decides to go with, right? You know, you're looking for so many people for really important movies. Nolan's a big name. You're always gonna, you know, look for the best of the best, right? You know, but come on, I mean, it's
something that was completely out of like Heath Ledger's like comfort zone too. I mean, he was doing rom-coms, he was doing like, you know, a bunch of these like movies for everybody, and then all of a sudden you're doing this where you're portraying like such an iconic villain too. And I mean, having everything together, basically Nolan, Emma Thomas as a producer, you had Hans Zimmer as a composer, you had Bale, you had Ledger, you had Kane, you had everybody on there. It was honestly fantastic, perfect casting, directing, everything. It was.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely one of those movies that has to be considered as one of the best of all time. Deservedly so.
Well, yeah. I mean, even it's in IMDb's top. It's in like everybody's top. It's definitely up there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. We are moving on to the next movie.
Inception.
2010, right?
It has been a while since I watched this. Like
I actually rewatched this not too long ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel of Nolan's sort of like ideas and filmography at this point, right?
I'm gonna be honest. Listen, the first time I watched Inception, that was the first time that people really said Christopher Nolan, in my opinion. You know, that's the first time I was really hearing him, because I was hearing Batman movies and everybody was saying, oh yeah, the Batman movies are good. The Batman movies are good. Yeah. But I wasn't hearing Christopher Nolan's name going around like crazy, because he hadn't made such iconic films by then yet, you know? So by this point I hear, you know, oh yeah, this guy's made the Batman movies now. And now Christopher Nolan's making Inception. So that's when I really started hearing about Nolan.
That's
and
fair, actually.
yeah, it just became this whole thing where, oh, Christopher Nolan does incredible like sci-fi movies where like it'll mess with your head, you know? And that's what he became kind of like started to get known for, I guess, right? Making like mindfuck movies like Memento and all that stuff. But Inception, man, it's incredibly well done. And you got Leo, of course. You gotta have Leo at least once in your movies.
Apparently every big director.
Yeah, he's got to be everywhere.
I mean, that's speaking of that, you know, Bale has been in so many. I don't know if he was working on something at this point, or maybe it just didn't work for Nolan at this point. He was like, this is not the type of movie to have him in. You know, he knows his limits. You know, there's no point in just introducing somebody for the sake of introducing them, right? I'm kind of surprised that we didn't see Leo like one more time in a movie.
That's true. It's his only Leo, right?
It's his only Leo. And considering how well perceived the movie was, and, you know, he's great, obviously. And there were opportunities, I feel like, you know, Tenet could have been an opportunity for him to be there. You know, we say, oh, no, like that doesn't make sense because we've seen the movie now. But like we could have easily accepted it if like Leo was in that movie and not
instead of Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, sure. But like, I just mean like,
I just find it, Leo is at such a point in his career where he kind of has to be the lead.
That's the thing.
That's true, yeah.
It's like if he's not the lead, then like why is he taking a movie on?
And Nolan often has the lead in mind already.
Yeah.
So it's like if you think about his next movies, right? Rises already has Kristen Bale. Interstellar, I don't see Leo as
McConaughey. No.
He could have been
Matt Damon is what I'm thinking. But
maybe.
But I don't think he would have taken that role.
Might have been able to be in replace of Casey Affleck at that point. Like maybe, like I'm just saying, if you're gonna throw somebody in it, but again,
it would have been too small of a role.
Yeah, too small of a role. Yeah,
he never would have taken it on.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it makes sense.
Like he don't. At that point, he had already worked with Nolan. If it was like for the first time to only work with him, I would have said 100%. Maybe he would have tried to take it, but
just for the fact that he can say I've worked with Nolan.
Yeah,
like, yeah. But
then you have Cillian Murphy on the other hand, who has already been in 2 movies that we mentioned. Yeah. 3. Right. So I mean, now we're on Inception.
Yeah, he's in Inception.
Yeah. So now we're at 3.
Batmans.
Two Batmans. We're at the Inception. He's going to show up later on. I
don't know what you're talking about.
But yeah, I mean, it's he picks and chooses who he wants to work with, right? And obviously he picks some of the best to bring out the best in those actors. And as everybody says, when they're working with Nolan, they want to bring out their best acting because they don't want to, disappoint him, or they want to, work with the best and be the best.
Yeah, exactly. It makes sense.
Yeah, of course. But in this movie, you have Cillian Murphy, who's an incredible, persona that they're trying to dive deep into their mind of, and then you got Leo, the mastermind behind it all, but he's also like messed up in the head. So like, yeah, it's a really, really good take on what happens when you're trying to do something, but you're messed up too. I don't know.
Yeah.
And again, his use of visual effects and that is just takes it to another level. That spinning room.
Oh
yeah.
Oh my God.
How do you even like...
The man's like, yeah, I could CGI it, but no, let's build this huge mechanism that makes a room spin, and you guys will be standing in there on harnesses. Like, what?
You know what? I think he got some inspiration from High School Musical 3. Like,
I mean, it has to. Where else? Where else does he think about doing that?
Like
it's true.
Bolton in the hallway, like doing that.
Oh
I mean,
my God.
if it's not there, where did Inception come from? Wait, was it before or after? Whatever.
I know, man.
I'm just gonna
actually,
3?
No. The High School Musicals were like
one
back to
after
back
another.
to back.
Yeah.
to
So it was
back.
like 08, 09, 10 or something like that. They were like, you're right.
Oh, wait,
Subscribe if you want a
High School Musical episode coming soon.
showcase for High School Musical. That's right.
2008. So he definitely got inspiration.
He
definitely stole it.
Christopher
right.
Nolan High School Musical
He did.
fan confirmed.
Yeah. He did Dark Knight and was like, oh, damn. All right. Well,
what do I watch tonight? High School Musical.
Guy probably bought it on like DVD and everything.
I'm not surprised.
Guy got like the Walmart special with like behind the scenes.
The 3-in-1 Walmart.
Yeah, exactly. But Inception. I mean, I can't really comment on it. It's been a while since I watched it.
Yeah, same.
I mean, there's no doubt. There are glimpses that I remember from it. I remember watching it and enjoying it, and then leaving it in, Nolan fashion, right? Ending the film that way.
Do I really know what happened?
Do you know what happened? What is it considered? I mean, it's just a like
sci-fi.
But like, I guess it depends on the definition of thriller is.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Because I could argue it's a sci-fi thriller in a way. Because you're on the edge of your seat. Like, it's a suspenseful movie.
Apparently, it's action, adventure, sci-fi.
But sure, yeah.
Sure, yeah. All right.
Definitely adventure, actually, yeah.
Yeah. So after Inception, we have
Rises.
We should, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking right now because there's a point in time where he does take a bit of a break in films, but at this point, I think it's like every 2 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Pretty much.
Actually, he took a big break from Rises. Next one was Dunkirk, right? Or
so it's like the last one.
Interstellar 14.
And then Dunkirk.
Okay.
But then Dunkirk's like 17, right?
Yeah,
it's a bit of a break, but it's not
3 years.
Not really. Honestly, he's just making the movie.
He's just
because I'm sure Dunkirk took a while.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah. We'll talk about it.
Okay, guys, come on.
Okay. Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises. I mean,
that's when we have Bane.
Yes,
and we have Bane.
I searched it up. The beginning is Bane's introduction.
Okay.
Which,
as a kid in the prison, right?
No, not as a kid. It's literally basically.
The plane.
The plane, yes, the plane.
Oh
the
plane
my God,
That's right. Yes,
where
that's a really great intro. That's another. I feel like because at this point, Nolan must have been working with IMAX, definitely for the Batmans, like all those films.
And
at least the Dark Knight and this Rises.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Inception was IMAX too.
Yes,
I would not be
for
surprised
sure, right?
because of how visually grand it is, right?
Yeah.
Like,
so maybe those are the only ones. At least for sure, we know he definitely worked with them.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I say that is because those two introductions really show the magnitude of IMAX because it's like those really like huge shots of landscape and all of it, like it really pulls you into the movie and it's like it's amazing to watch, and if those movies come back to theaters.
About that plane scene.
Yeah, I forgot about it too, but it's
God.
really it's a very interesting shot.
Why are you pointing a gun when you're about to kick someone out? Like, bro,
go.
It's insane.
Impressions, I love it.
But like Heath Ledger, you have that incredible villain introduction, and then you have Bane. Incredible back-to-back, like two movies, like incredible villain introductions. I think that's honestly an incredible way to go. You're introducing the main thing that the whole protagonist is going to try to fight against, and
just how messed up they are.
Right
from the start.
Massive, right?
Yeah, and just how smart they are as villains as well, because like you get it immediately from the Joker, and then you get this, and you're like, oh, like he has a plan as well. Like
he has like a blood transfusion for the dead guy. He has like he's blowing up the plane. He's got somebody else coming to take the plane. Like what's going on?
Seriously. Yeah. There's a chunk of that introduction scene, speaking of going back to his whole love for VFX and everything like that, and there's a chunk of that is real, and then obviously at one point they have no choice but to make it CGI because you can't do that.
I'm pretty sure it was like the plane actually being on like no wings.
Yeah,
they had actually made it so that it was basically just frontal like flying and people inside.
Yeah,
that's like insane.
It's crazy. It's like, I don't even this guy.
Like, but having Tom Hardy as Bane is honestly like I found out as a shock.
Yeah,
I don't know about you guys. I wasn't expecting to see somebody like Tom Hardy just show up randomly as Bane, and then he like bulked up like crazy too.
But at first, I can't say I knew that it was Bane. That it was Tom Hardy.
Yeah, I had no idea either.
Because like he's so bulky and he obviously has a mask.
And he's bald.
Tom Hardy or Nolan likes hiding his face for some reason in like literally every movie they've worked together.
Yeah.
But no, like I didn't know until after. I was like, oh shit. Oh, so every movie.
Every movie. I don't even know. Yeah, that's great.
Wait, it's been what 3 movies that it's been with him? Well, no, actually, Inception was fine.
Yeah.
He has a mask at one point when they're
at one point, but but it's not as much.
It's not as bad.
You're
right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, Dark Knight Rises is comparing it to the other Batmans. Obviously, everyone's gonna say it's not as good, no doubt. I think it's a little bit better than the first Batman of the Nolans. I think
I agree.
He definitely knew what he was doing. I find the latter half of Rises is pretty good. I find. I think a lot of people have, at least from what I've seen, have issues with the way it kind of ended. People didn't love it, but I liked it. I think it's very Nolan to do these types of things, the way he ends it. And you might say it's like common for every director to do that type of ending, because like the way that, he, is he gone? Is he not? Oh, there was autopilot, it was reinstalled or whatever, or something along those lines is what he said, right? To Lucius, And so, I like that ending. It's, I'm a sucker for those endings,
it's full circle.
You got to get the complete, if there's not going to be another one. A lot of people thought at the end of that, because of the way that, I can only think of the actor's name, but Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who was played by,
like detective,
well, they didn't call him Robin, but his last name was something rather close, I think it was, if I remember correctly. But the way that he enters into the Batcave at the end, and you're just like, oh, is Nolan gonna make like a Robin like only film? We're kind of like expecting that. Just nothing came of it at all. You're just in there like, what the hell?
But it's kind of nice though, because it kind of just like makes your mind kind of run, right? It's like what would have happened, right? It's the same thing as like Quentin Tarantino does when you're introduced to the leader of Inglourious Bastards. I forget his name.
Hans Landa?
Yeah, no.
The leader.
Aldo Rain.
Yes, where he's got the whole thing on his neck. You have no idea where it came from. You make it up in your mind and everything, right? But that ending was definitely phenomenal. Not phenomenal, but I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, definitely growing up, I don't know why, but I found The Dark Knight Rises was more like rewatchable for me when I was younger than The Dark Knight. But then as I got older, I started to appreciate more The Dark Knight, right? Because of the acting and like the
themes in Rises aren't as complex as they are in, and in fact, they're really not that complicated. I feel like going from The Dark Knight, you're just kind of like, oh, there's like so much more hidden behind just the facade of like, oh, it's Batman, he's fighting crime or whatever.
It's more of mind games that like you said, as a child, probably don't really see it. And then Rises is just action, boom, boom. Like it's classic Batman.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I can't say I agree because I didn't watch them until I was older, but I see what you mean.
Yeah, as a kid, I would just be like, oh, Dark Knight Rises is my favorite one. I love it so much. I'd rewatch it like every now and again. And then as I got older and started to appreciate film, I was like, yo, the acting's insane. Oh, the story's messed up. I'm like, oh, whoa, what's happening? Joker's like 20 steps ahead.
Yeah, no, really. Yeah, but, I mean, you can't stop talking about any of the Batmans. They're great for that reason. And Nolan is just getting better and better the more he makes these movies. And after Rises, we have
the
debatable GOAT,
Interstellar.
I'm saying debatable GOAT because I think it is debatable.
Before we talk about Interstellar, we'll talk about it soon. We have made it a pretty good chunk. We're about 40 minutes into this. So I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor of this stream and of many of our videos as well, movieposters.com, which is a Canadian-based movie posters website. You can go take a look at them. You can check out any of the posters, including, the one behind us. You can get an actual proper poster on their website that reflects light through and everything like that, just like at the theaters. And you can get reprints as well at a cheaper cost. And obviously, when you go to your checkout, use code Forgotten15 to get 15% off your entire checkout. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing more to say that. They're great. They're fantastic. And so Interstellar.
All right.
Interstellar. Oh my God.
Yeah. This might just be a segment for Alvaro just to like go off.
Dude,
Interstellar.
I love this movie so much. I love it so much.
It's too good.
I just lost my phone. Okay. It's just so incredibly well done. And this story is so unique too. It's like, as somebody that loves like sci-fi movies, this is the movie like to watch. I find it's you're gonna hop in here, you're gonna be like, okay, time to watch a movie about interstellar travel, I guess, right? That's what the name kind of suggests. You get into something. It's space something. You get into it and you're bawling and you're like, what is happening right now? Why am I watching this guy watch his kids grow up and I'm crying? And you're just like, what the fuck?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah.
Is it all our number one Nolan? I said debatable because obviously there's the one behind us, but I don't know where he's at anymore.
Yeah. After how many times have you seen Oppenheimer?
I don't know. You can go watch the video on the channel. Just keep redirecting people. You can go watch the latest video on the channel and you can find out how many times I've watched it. Yeah, Interstellar is there's a lot of factors that go into choosing which one is Nolan's best movie for me. It's not as simple as saying like
it's really hard.
It's really complex, especially when you have such strong performances on every side, and then like the soundtrack from each of these. I mean, I can listen to any of them at any point, just be like, this is great music. There's a siren going on in the background. Yeah. There is a storm a brewing here in.
Been thundering
near the studio right now. It's been thundering a little bit. Perfect storm. But for Interstellar here, I mean, it's a perfect storm of like soundtrack, acting, storytelling, cinematography. Yeah. I mean, like, come on, and like VFX to do things for this movie. You're talking about time travel.
Black
who knows?
holes.
Yeah, like at the light of speed. All to be done with VFX, Nolan style. Like what? Yeah.
And the accuracy of his like astrophysics that they use, like it's been
wrote a book,
literally proven right years after the movie came out. It's just nuts. Like my guy literally made a black hole before we had a clear image of one. Years later, the image comes out. And it's the exact same thing. Yeah. Like how crazy is that? And yeah, he wrote a fucking book.
Yeah, with like astrophysicists, and you're like, what? Like,
yeah,
this guy.
Nolan's right.
Sick. Oh man, but he's such an incredible director, and the themes that came with this movie, I think, are what make this movie so unique and so loved by so many people, because it hits so many different ranges of like of aspects that people like to see. There's a bit of love in there. There's family in there. Gotta stand for your family. There's that action. You got that adventure. You got the drama. You got the sci-fi. I guess you could say there's a little bit of like terrifying stuff in there. Like I wouldn't want to go into a black hole. But like,
no, really?
Yeah. I mean,
Miller's Planet. Just like a 30-meter wave or whatever it is.
I mean, come on.
Like,
yeah. I will say we've spoken on it before, but I'll say the first bad thing about Nolan, and this is very, very evident in Interstellar, but it's actually in pretty much all of his movies. His ability to write with female characters is his downfall. Yeah, and even fans of ours is like, you can't ignore that. No. And especially in a movie like Interstellar, where you're one of your main actors, other than Matthew McConaughey, the fact that he couldn't write something better than you know, Anne Hathaway's, you know, love to go and find, you know, Matt Damon. Yeah. And that's sort of like her whole purpose, more or less, and sort of to accomplish what her father wanted as well, which is sort of like undermined by this like more significant like impact of like, let's go find him on like what Miller's Planet or whatever. It's like, come on. Yeah. Like you could have done it better.
It's you have such an incredible potential for the character because the character is so smart. You know, obviously he's one of the last few NASA people out there, right? Yeah. With like Professor Brandt too, and like she's following his father's footsteps, looking for love, and that's it. She's literally the only person that makes like a comment on love. Like, is love the only thing that like breaks the fifth dimension? Maybe love is what, you know. It's the, what did she say?
I don't know the exact. I don't know the driving force behind all this.
Like, yeah, it's like, okay, but like, you're a scientist, you know that's not it. Like you could have done more stuff with her, definitely. And the daughter, I mean, like Murphy, like yeah, she was decent, but like there's better. So much more that like could have been done.
I think Murphy was used at least older, right? Mm-hmm. Much more better written in terms of like there was actual like character behind it and like purpose and like just it just feels too simple just to like make an entire character for just the sake of like she loves this guy. Cool. But there's like so much more behind it. And like Murphy's done a lot better in that sense because it's just like, yeah, there's love behind it, but it's not like love for the sake of like a relationship. There's more to it and there's more like grounded like themes in it and like their love for the family and like this purpose of like trying to find a connection with her father who left, you know, and said he'd come back, but like still hasn't. It's been like 30 years or whatever, you know, 25 years. And so like,
it's like, yes, it's love, but it's also revenge at the same time in a way. It's like, I can do what you like wanted to, like I can save humanity. I will do it. Yes, you're gone, but like, I will find you. I will prove you wrong the whole time.
Yeah, she was very spiteful at the beginning, right? She's like, you left me. Like, I'm not going to send you a video of me being like, hi, father. Like, hope you're doing good. 30
years later, I show up.
Yeah. Like, oof. Well, not even 30. What was it, like 84, something like that, when she's like an older lady?
Oh yeah,
by the end of it.
Yeah. It's the one Nolan thing because like we talked about we've already talked about Dark Knight Rises, but even
Anne
that
Hathaway again.
Yeah. What does he have against her?
No, that's what I mean. Like, it's not even if he has like a random B tier actress. He has Anne Hathaway.
Seriously,
insane.
That's the material he's giving her.
Yeah,
it's disappointing, but like
Nolan, if you're watching, you could have done that. If you are watching, no, let us know.
Like I even saw a comment on Letterboxd. I think it was for following. When I was logging in, one of the comments is like, even in this, Nolan didn't know how to write like a strong female character.
Yeah, they found it kind of creepy the way that it was perceived, is from what I read. Yeah, I don't. Anyways, I think Nolan, you know, as great as he is, that's his one downfall. I mean, I guess it's not necessarily all him, technically, you know. We say it's him because it's, you know, he's the face of his like everything. His name's attached to everything. You know, you put it on the posters and everything like that. But his brother's a part of it too, right? And, you know, they write good stories, no doubt, but when you fail at a pretty common idea, a pretty easy idea to just write a character, it doesn't have to be that complicated.
It's literally the basic of like any movie, right?
Yeah. We're not looking for, you know, we're not asking for the female characters to be, you know, just like
lead or anything.
Yeah,
like,
well, they
could be, you know, whatever.
Just make them human. Yeah, that's it.
No, exactly.
Like they have more than just one basic emotion, you know.
Yeah. Like you're saying, they could be. I don't really want to see a female lead in the Nolan movie because that's going to be weak as fuck.
The way he rates.
Well, if he's writing it, like
if we take
would be horrible.
All of his female characters and we make them the lead of that movie,
the movies wouldn't. No, because he doesn't know what he's doing.
Boy, it would lose so much connection and. Just because of how weak they are in their writing.
Yeah, Nolan, do better. That's right.
Come on.
Yeah, I think one movie that, I mean, we'll get into, but there's a bit of leeway.
I'll have something to say. I know exactly what you're going to say. I have already registered it.
Yeah.
All right. Next movie on this list is
Dunkirk.
Dunkirk already? Okay.
Dunkirk.
I want to bring up, we have Maddie again saying something in the chat.
Yes.
We mentioned Dunkirk a little bit earlier, and she took her chance to write. She said Harry Styles is in Dunkirk, meaning great casting.
Oof. I mean, yeah,
his
sure.
acting debut, right?
Yeah. To be honest, like every time someone tells me he's in the movie, I'm like, where? I'll be really honest.
It's true. Yeah.
I mean,
Actually, where though?
well,
he's in the boat, right?
Yeah, he's in the boat. You know, when they're shooting at the boat, and then like also the boat that goes underwater.
That's being flooded.
Yeah.
He's
the big
in
boat.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He's in
okay,
there
yeah.
somewhere.
He's
Yeah,
the one that
remember,
basically he could have opened the door, but he left. Right? I think. That's what it is.
Oh yes,
maybe.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I remember
Yeah.
now.
So he's actually kind of a dick.
Yeah.
Great casting. No.
mean, he's
Anyone could
British.
play that. He's British.
There
I
you
guess.
go.
It's on par, you know. I always forget Nolan and like all the people he works with. They're just really good at sounding American, as you would put it, right?
Yeah.
It's
Crazy.
tough.
Connor does another quick comment. Connor over here says Tom Hardy is the GOAT. I 100% agree. Tom Hardy is amazing.
He's great in this. He's so good in Dunkirk.
He doesn't. Does he have any lines in this movie?
I don't think he does. He just goes That's him the entire time.
I was gonna say how many lines are in Dunkirk.
Honestly,
Yeah,
Not
there's
that many.
Not that many, no.
Yeah.
But it's just such a visual and it's
Exactly.
still an impactful film.
yeah.
Incredible.
I remember watching it in theaters with my brother. And then when we left, my brother was like, wow, that was boring. And I was like, what do you mean? It was like a visual masterpiece. Like they said like 2 words.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, but screen. Did you not see what like...
Everything that's happening in it, so good.
And Dunkirk, I might be mistaken, but wasn't it the first Nolan film to be done in 70 mil?
Might have been. That
Very-
sounds vaguely.
Actually, I think it was in
well, I don't know. Interstellar had.
Interstellar, but Interstellar wasn't shot in 70 mil, of course.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure Dunkirk was.
Might have been, yeah.
Oh, good point. I didn't. I wasn't sure about that
If
either.
you guys know, let us know.
Yeah, if you know, if you
down
want to
below.
Google it for us.
Yeah.
Quick-
But I mean, yeah, Dunkirk is such a different film from like we know about Nolan and his ability to like just tell a story without saying anything. You know, he's like so good at just convincing us of like emotions that are happening. He picks the right
Just
actors to do
showing.
it, and like the way that he directs it, it's just perfect, right? And the scores he chooses for the moments that are there, perfect, right? But this is a movie where, like, yeah, I mean, there are like very few lines in it, and if anything, I feel like the only time there are is that like because there's like a few stories within it, right?
Yeah,
it's all
yeah.
happening around the same area, but there's a couple of stories happening at the same time. We kind of cut between them, you know. That's sort of what Nolan does in most of his films. I feel like this is
in a way, yeah.
the more recent one. I don't know if it happens much not so much in the Batman series. There's not as many different storylines. Trying to think of any other. Inception maybe has a couple of them.
Well, Inception, they all have to do with the same characters, but they're just so deep in the dreams.
Okay.
Within
So it's
dreams
not
within
so much
dreams,
like
right? So it's
different as it's the same story, but from a.
But
maybe a different-
it is kind of like multiple B stories within.
But like they all connect to the main one.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's Inception, right? It's just fuck to talk about. It's just weird.
Yeah.
But so Dunkirk, multiple stories, and then what I was saying was that the times where you really did have dialogue is where that you had that small
The rescue boat.
the rescue
there.
boat.
Yeah, yeah.
That's like the only dialogue,
Pretty much.
which is great. You know,
Yeah.
so many actors in this movie again. Like I don't know how you managed to get all these people, but hey, good for you, Nolan. Just keep bringing them in.
Yeah.
I mean, like like you said it specifically, I think it was towards the beginning, his use of sound and like lack of, especially I think one of the beginning like opening scenes is pretty much where everybody's just waiting around in like a boat about to hit the shore. And then everybody's just kind of, looking forward, waiting. And then all of a sudden one person kind of turns, another person turns, and everybody kind of sees a plane coming. Everybody starts ducking. You hear the sound and you're just like, but you don't know what's happening until you actually hear the plane coming. And you're just like, what is happening? This is like such an incredible way to start a movie. And like you already, I mean, it's a war movie going into it.
Yeah.
You know it's in France. Dunkirk is in France.
Yeah.
So you know it's in France. They're gonna be in Europe and stuff. But to start a movie like that, you already know it's gonna be very like, I just can't describe,
quote
man.
that?
No, there's no
Can we write
words.
that
There's
down?
no word. It's like Dunkirk is just. Oh man.
Timestamp it.
They just grunt at it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, I feel like he's testing out different ideas as like his filmography expands more and more. And just like he keeps getting better at these like little things.
He's like 10 movies and still trying new stuff, and
Right.
it's turning out into like basically masterpieces every
But
time. Like,
that's the thing. That's what makes him so fun to like watch every time he has something new. Because he's always trying something different, whether it's with equipment, VFX, sound, whatever it is. He's just pushing for a new idea each time. And that's why none of his movies really feel the same. And that's why we're able to rank them, right? Because like it's easy to say when something's good or bad, right? At least in his filmography. But this is so different from everything else.
This one I find is hard to rank, like this specific one, just because of how different it is from basically any other movie, right? Like we talked about the lack of dialogue and stuff. It's more of a visual, almost documentary-esque. Like I find it so hard to compare to, let's say, Interstellar or Dark Knight because of just how out there it is. Completely different from the rest of filmography. But like you said, there's no words to put to it.
Yeah.
All right. I think we've said enough about Dunkirk.
Yeah.
So now we get a 3-year gap.
Yep.
And
from
then
2017 to 2020.
The best Tenet, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it is Tenet.
Yeah, Tenet. Yeah.
So Tenet, it was, I mean,
it got such an unfortunate release.
It did get an unfortunate release, but it was highly regarded because, again, it's sort of like Nolan, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, he took a jetter right into a hangar for the sake of a movie." That was like the top lines I saw everywhere, and I was like, "Okay, just so like, let's see what this is like. You know, let's see what's next." But
go for it. Just go for it.
Go. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Nolan is great at doing what he does in terms of telling a story that can be complex with really complex themes, but sometimes he might get a little bit ahead of himself. And this movie is one of those moments where I find it's just a little too complicated for the sake of, like, what's the point is my, like, where I'm going with this. Like, I like the concept, and it's like he expanded on the early Memento like idea and
the two timelines.
Yeah, the two timelines. And I think he did it better in this by a lot. But at the same time, it gets to the point where I'm just like, oh, okay. Yeah, we got some thunder here. I think we have some thunder over here. I think Nolan is hearing me right now, and he's pissed. I love you, Nolan. Make more movies. But for me, when I watch this, because there are two ways that I like to look at a movie, right? It's the first time I watch it, and then I'll watch it again and again, right? And, you know, I'll give it another shot. Tenet, I've watched twice. Not the most times I've watched Nolan film. It's probably one of the least. But the initial time I watched it, I was like, okay, this is not like his other stuff. You can see brief moments of Nolan, but this is like probably his most experimental film in terms of like what he's trying to achieve.
I found like Tenet was just really similar to Inception and Memento in the sense that like it's a movie meant to mess with your brain. It's not really a movie meant to be a movie. I don't know. That's just what it's
not a movie that's meant to be a movie. Let's quote that too.
Yeah, let's keep quoting Alvaro here. He's on a streak.
I am, I guess. It just doesn't feel like something that you could like watch nicely. I mean, he did a great job. He did a great job regardless, but it just doesn't feel like something that makes sense watching it. Like if, for example, if Tenet was a book, then you have a bit more of like a leeway to understand, I think. Like a bit more understanding. I don't know. This is just maybe me, but it's a very complex story of going back and forth. Watching in a movie theater, especially the fucking sound design. I did not like this movie's sound design.
That was a huge yes. I was going to bring that up. Yeah,
could not hear like anybody speaking. Pretty much the fucking audio of a random bird passing by is fucking louder than me speaking. Yeah. Bro, what the fuck?
But how does he? Because okay, I want to go back to the point that you said where like this isn't a movie to be like from what I gathered from what you said. You basically said this movie isn't supposed to be like easily understood, which I get.
Which obviously it's not.
Obviously that's why it has like very mixed reviews. I find the critique for it has changed quite a bit over like the last couple of years as like, you know, it's had time to sort of like sit there and people have gone back and watched it. And I could see why people start to enjoy it more is because they've had a chance to maybe watch it once, twice, maybe 3 or 4 or more, considering how complicated it can be. But that's my issue is that I've praised Nolan on his ability to sort of take these really complex themes and ideas, even with his kind of convoluted storylines, and make them somewhat, you know, digestible as a viewer. And you're like, okay, I kind of like, I understand this enough that it doesn't ruin it for me. And this is a moment where he kind of overindulges, like I said, and it's like, all right, I shouldn't have to come back and watch this. Like I should get it right away, not right away, but just get it to the point where I'm satisfied as a viewer. You know what I mean? Because even Oppenheimer, which we'll talk about,
That's what I was about to bring up too.
It's complicated, but it doesn't dilute from the impact and the themes from the story. Because once you get to the end, you're like, okay, it's fine. Like, you know?
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. But that's where I stand on Tenet. That's my issue with it.
That's fair. That's actually a pretty fair argument because I mean, like Nolan, as we know, is basically a experimental genius. I mean, I guess that's pretty much a way that we can.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
But like, yeah, I mean, I definitely get where you're coming from for Tenet.
Yeah. Defend it more, Alvaro. Damn it.
I get it, but at the same time, I want to nitpick something you said.
Sure.
Go at it.
You said that it's done similarly to Memento, but you're saying Tenet did it better.
But
then you're also saying it's worse.
Okay, so in terms of like the idea of like this back and forth,
the two timelines like meeting
find
each other.
It's more intriguing from that perspective because Memento's very not childish, but like using the word as like very like early idea, early concept, simplified to the ground. Because really, once you get towards the end of Memento, you're like, okay,
yeah,
like
got it.
I got it.
I need to rewatch it to like properly fully understand.
Yeah, you'll pick up on things you missed. And you're like, oh, that makes sense for this point in the movie for sure. But like by the end of the movie, you're like, okay, that was fine. Like I understand all of it. It all makes sense now, more or less, right? Tenet, I find, is it took that concept, made it more intriguing because I like the way that they use time in this movie. But it doesn't come back to that conclusion is my issue. It doesn't come to the point where at the end of the movie, I'm like, okay, all right, understood. Like, cool. But it has kind of like a Dark Knight Rises ending where you can keep, like, it's kind of open-ended. You have Joseph Gordon-Levitt going to the Batcave and like the whole Michael Caine, Christian Bale at the end. So like, yes, it doesn't have a good God, its story's done. But at the same time, I don't know. Like I said, I've watched it twice and those were not long after it came out for home viewing. And then maybe 3 years ago after that. So, or not like after that, but 3 years ago from this point. So it's been very long since I've seen it. That's fair. And like I said, it's not my favorite one. So there's a very good chance that I've just like purged it out of my brain and I'm not giving it a fair proper, because I've talked to people about it and they're all like, man, you got to watch it again like now so you can really, you know, and I agree. Like I need to get around to it. But every time I sit down, I'm like, I'm going to watch it. And I'm just like, no, I'm going to go watch something else. Be quiet. Look, I've also seen it twice. And the second time I watched it, my brain went like, it clicked. And then like I really started liking it. So maybe you just need that moment to happen. Maybe I need that moment. But maybe not. It's also fair. Like not everyone's going to like every movie, right? Like
that's true.
That's fair.
But
that's
I am a Tenet defender.
Fair enough.
I'm a bit more on his side too.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it gets too much hate for what it is, because online it does get a lot of hate.
Yeah,
it gets a lot.
It does. Yeah. I think people just like found a couple of things to hate on, and they're like, "Yeah, this
exactly."
Is bad. I mean, like, yes, the audio design in it is. I don't know how that happened. Who knows? Yeah. Filmmaking process takes a lot of time. It's all over the place.
And it wasn't a really weird period.
It was
like COVID and going straight to streaming instead of theaters, and
it's just
his breakup with Warner. Like,
oh yes,
it was a really weird time.
I saw it in theaters, and I honestly I heard like garbling. So I was like, I
don't know what happened there.
I had to watch it at home to actually understand it.
And
but
it's
like,
I remember it being, it still has a bit of issues if I remember correctly. At least maybe they've fixed it again, because I don't own it.
How it was on
DVD.
I have the physical release, but I just haven't gotten around to seeing it physically. But
so maybe they've fixed it a little bit. But that's like
I would hope so.
Issues that lie with it. Yeah.
That's fair. All fair.
Yeah. That's fair. I gotta watch it. All right, maybe I'll have a viewing party. We'll all watch it together, viewers included. Take down the channel in like half a second.
Yeah,
it's fine. You can't hear the dialogue, so what are they going to copyright? All right, so we are. Wow. Okay, so that's Tenet, and
now what's after Tenet?
What's after Tenet? Hey, what's that?
Hello.
All right.
Second debatable go. The reason why I'd said debatable for Interstellar.
Yeah, I mean,
to me, it's heavily between those two.
be.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Oppenheimer lies in like, one of our favorite movies as a group.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a significant piece of this channel, right? I mean,
it's the reason why there's a channel.
It's the reason why we're sitting right here,
Yeah.
Exactly. Not long ago, November, I think it was, when we recorded a pretty long 2-part series talking about it.
Yeah, it's like
we'll try not to like
long or something. Yeah.
It's like a 2 hour. It was almost like, proper Nolan length for you there.
Yeah.
But we'll try not to like go too deep into, Oppenheimer. But I mean, at this point in time, I think this is like a sort of a combination of everything that he's learned and like took it to another level and like perfected it. There are small things that I think this movie could have improved on, especially like pacing wise.
It loses a lot of it at the start of the third act,
but overall you could see like identifying markers of who Nolan as a director is and his like ability to like just take like the most boring concept like reading wise and turn it into like this like extremely fascinating courtroom drama history lesson.
Yeah.
I don't know what to call it. It's got all of it.
And finally Killian,
Oh my god.
as the leading man.
Yeah.
Those
After what, 6
beautiful
films?
blue eyes.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. I feel like, because like when the movie was being promoted and everyone was like, oh, Nolan, how'd you come up with Killian as your like choice, right? It's like,
Do you not?
see it? First of all, like obviously, do you not watch any of his other movies for one? But I also think like, obviously we say now like there's no one else who could have played the role of, Oppenheimer, right?
Even before Oppenheimer came out, nobody could have played it.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's a bit of dumb luck in terms of like the fact that Nolan had worked with Killian before. It was just sort of like the perfect like because as a director, you obviously go back to the actors you've worked with, no doubt.
We see it countless times.
You see it all the time, right? And it makes sense because you have a good rapport with them. You know how they work. If anybody doesn't know, Nolan works with the same crew for like every movie he works on. He's had the same people because he trusts them. I guess like the only interchangeable for him is like sometimes, cinematography and soundtrack.
Yeah.
Other than that, everybody's pretty much the same always, and because they know what they're doing.
Movies, like it's basically like a routine at that point.
Yeah.
You know exactly what you're going to be up to every day.
Yeah. I mean, could you imagine putting that on your CV? I am gaffer for like
That's
Nolan.
literally all you have to say.
Yeah.
I am with Nolan.
Yeah.
And you're good.
And you're
Perfect.
good.
Yeah.
Like crazy.
Go on IMDb, you'll see my filmography.
I mean, you're guaranteed to work on it's amazing movie every like 3-4 years if he keeps going right at this pace.
Crazy.
I don't see him slowing down. But talking about what the hell was I talking about?
Oppenheimer.
Killian.
Yeah,
Dumb
Killian.
luck.
Yeah, dumb luck that he worked with Killian because if maybe he never had worked with him before, Killian, he's worked on a lot of movies and obviously his big TV show, Peaky Blinders, right?
Yeah.
So maybe he would have seen him and wouldn't have been like, yes, that's my Oppenheimer. But I feel like there's still like that, like he worked with them, he knows him. He's like, yeah, okay, like that's the first. He says that's the first guy that came to mind, but that's because he's worked with him before. So who knows who would have been the first person to come to mind for him in any other case? You know what I mean?
True.
You just never know with those things. I find it intriguing that we're lucky for them to have worked together and that he's the one he chose.
But I mean, for an actor like Cillian Murphy, who's already been in such incredible roles, even before Nolan, like he was already pretty known.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And I don't know. I just find I can't not say it can't be Nolan. It can't be Murphy. I can't.
Obviously,
it just can't,
you can't say
can't.
that. But, like I understand that.
You know what I mean?
No, for sure. It's like I said. For Interstellar, some of the cast, like they could be interchangeable, technically speaking, because this is just the way we see the movie now. It's been out for this, whatever. We're just so used to it. But
but like as a director, I'm trying to think like who else could fit in this role.
No, I mean,
it's like
that's impossible.
You have to put the whole movie on this person's shoulders.
If you're talking that way, Leo could have done it because he's put a movie on his shoulders countless times.
Leo could have done it, but
in that sense, but I don't think Leo is Oppenheimer.
You put Leo in those shoes. I don't think you get as strong of a cast behind him. Because I think Nolan knew that, like, he even said it. Killian was gonna be my main guy. He's gonna be the big name for this, or the front page. But I have to put a cast behind him that's gonna just do their job so well that we don't have to like worry. Not that Killian was gonna like not do well. Of course,
but to like support him.
But to support him, right? Yeah. So, but if Leo was there, you wouldn't get that cast behind him. You would probably get some good people.
But would you not know? Wouldn't that cast be like, oh, I'm working behind Leo on a Nolan movie?
No, they would have done it for sure.
Like,
but
it's...
would Nolan have like decided that's where I'm going to go with it now?
Like, am I going to literally write the script around
Leo at this point?
Leo. Yeah.
When I know Leo's going to be able to, I don't know. I find maybe, crap. Who did he play in Oppenheimer? Who's the actor? We can never pronounce his last name. Dastmalchian.
Yeah.
Who has? I think, is it a TV show that he recently did? Something Devil.
It's a movie.
It's a movie. Okay,
yeah.
I've heard really good things about it. But the reason I bring that up is because even in his moments in Oppenheimer, he had very similar like mannerisms and like the way he spoke, very similarly to Killian. If we had to put somebody else in those shoes and we're still going with somebody Nolan's worked with before, that's the only replacement I can think of. Like it's a very similar, same physique, Fair. I find, slim, tall-ish guy, so I think he's a bit taller than Killian in this movie, if I'm not mistaken.
Is what, like he's like 5'6"?
No clue.
Is he? I don't think he's that short.
Is he a short king?
I don't think he's short. Let's
short.
go.
Yeah.
We love Killian.
One of us.
I don't know. He's pretty small in the poster behind us. So
because the problem with trying to replace him as well is that now when I try to picture real life Oppenheimer, I see Killian.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. There are moments
they look so
they
much
look
alike.
Very similar.
It's
like the casting was
crazy.
perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
Like you're saying it's dumb luck, but at the end of the day, if Nolan never worked with Killian and he looked at a casting list to pick an Oppenheimer and he saw his face, I think you still have to be like, that is Oppenheimer right there.
100%.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
He's 5'6", by the way.
He's 5'6"?
5'6".
Killian?
Killian, yeah.
Still taller than me. Oof, indeed. That's actually interesting because I don't know what Oppenheimer's actual height was, but it does.
All it takes is a quick little Google.
He's gonna Google it, but it doesn't really matter because like it's not an important fact for whatsoever. I just find it interesting because of the way that they sort of used the camera angles are used really well in this movie because you don't really realize that he is 5'6", because definitely the people around him are definitely taller than that for sure.
Are they?
I mean, Downey Jr.'s not that short, that's for sure. He is not.
But he's not.
You don't see them in the same technically.
No, but like you see him next to Chris Hemsworth Thor, and like he's not 6 something.
No, he's not 6 something, but he's not 5'6".
Emily Blunt, she's not 5'10", is she? Actually, Krasinski's tall, and they're pretty.
Krasinski's tall, and she's not far behind.
He's not that far.
Whoa.
Damn.
Okay, regardless.
So Downey Jr. is 5'8".
He's 5'8".
That's what I mean.
5'8".
Damn.
And what did Maddie just say?
Maddie said Killian is 5'9". I just found Killian is 5'6".
That's a huge difference.
Yeah, that's actually insane.
Also, Zoe says Oppenheimer for the win.
1.72 meters.
Okay, yeah, not. So,
that's like this is the only unit of measurement that I don't like follow.
So I know it's not 6'6" because that's 2 meters. That's all I can say.
So let's just subtract from there.
Like, bro, why is there one page saying he's 5'9", another one saying he's 5'7", and the other one I found before is saying
we're gonna
5'6"?
Go with Maddie's because if he's 5'9",
RDJ 5'8",
and RJ 5'8", they are not far off of each other.
That's true. Yeah.
Because even in the close-ups, like they're not obviously they can change it for perspective and change movie magic. But
I mean, we've made Tom Cruise look tall, right? So.
Yeah, like a giant somehow. That man.
Oppenheimer's actual height was 5'10".
Okay.
Yep.
There we go.
So I'd say he's probably 5'9".
Yeah, he should be then.
Because I don't think the rest of that cast is actually tall. Like I don't think Matt Damon's tall. I can't say, but I don't picture him as a 6 foot man.
I'm literally searching it up right now. We're just going.
You know what the real question is? How tall is Nolan?
I think he's tall.
I think he's tall. Yeah.
I think he is.
There is a photo I've seen, of him directing Killian. I'm sure you've seen it.
They seem pretty.
They seem pretty far, but
He's
Anyway.
5'11".
5'11". Okay.
Yes, 5'11".
So Killian's definitely, from the photos I saw, he's definitely closer to 5'9". Like, there's no doubt. There's no way he's 5'6".
Yeah, because they're not that far off. But
5'6" would be crazy.
I'm just searching everything up.
your history is going to be actor height.
Bro, literally.
But yeah, the movie is great, and like I said, it's Nolan's sort of like ability to just take like a complex story with so much information.
Is this 2 inches apart? This is not 2 inches apart.
Yeah, I don't think so.
That is not 2 inches apart. No
That's-
chance.
That's like a solid 3-4 inches.
No chance. I am running up to the camera right now, and I'm gonna show.
Okay, he's gonna.
I
give you
wonder
guys a
how well it's
close-up.
gonna.
Here he comes. Let's see if the camera adjusts. It adjusted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like no chance that is 2 inches apart.
There's a slight delay, so we'll see it like actually appear now. But
This is
No chance that is 5'7" compared to 5'11".
this is no longer Christopher Nolan Showcase. This is now
Height.
what height are the Oppenheimer cast?
Dude, I'm like bugging out because I could have sworn he was like a short king. He's 5'6".
Well, you know what?
We're going with 5'9".
Going 5'9". Damn.
Damn, Oppenheimer.
I would have to look up to Killian. Damn.
no, my question is this his most successful movie? Because obviously, okay, we just went through his whole filmography, banger after banger after banger. Is this his most successful movie?
What do you consider successful?
Yeah,
like
I was
money
just about to
wise?
say. Money wise, it crushed it.
Because
Yeah.
It is his most, is it not? Ooh, it might be close
I
to
think it was The Dark
Dark
Knight.
Knight.
Dark
really
Knight
close.
But how much was
Rises
the-
crossed the bill, no?
Yes,
Ooh, yeah,
Rises
that's
did.
true.
I think
we looked it up.
Rises
It was-
made more money than Dark
Somehow
Knight.
people prefer Rises.
Because there's that, there's the accolades. So that's why like,
Okay.
when I talk about the debatable GOAT of
If
his
we're talking
movies,
about hardware, this is definitely his like most successful.
oh yeah,
Yes.
the
Like, he
sweep,
sweep the Oscars.
Yeah,
Yes, definitely.
But this is a year where like,
it was
come on, there was nothing
no
even
exactly.
close.
If only if fucking Dune Part 2
If Dune Part 2
came
came
out
out-
when it was
God.
supposed to, we would have had the Oscar season.
That would have been
like,
That would've
very
been crazy.
century.
yeah, but I mean,
I
I think they
still
knew.
think-
I think they knew.
They knew, yeah.
They knew. That's why they
It was
they
a
might have
perfect
prolonged
time
it
to
a
go.
little bit.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, but
not doing
like
that.
cinematography, who takes it?
Oh,
Score?
oh.
That's not
Like
fair.
yes, we love Ludwig's, but see what I mean? It would have been
Yeah, I don't
best
know.
director.
I still think
yeah.
Villeneuve would have
He is
taken it
goated.
because Villeneuve never gets respected the Oscars
I
for directing.
know,
So
but like,
This is Quebecois.
yeah, damn it.
Yo, but
I wish.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
wish.
But I still think like if you're talking like award season, not to say that this year was weak, but you know, like there's usually like one movie that just stands out. and
It was
crushes
kind of like an
right?
everything everywhere all at once.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was that moment. There were still moments where, like, for example, our supporting actress, right? We were not necessarily suspecting a clean win for Emily Blunt, right? But with that being said, perfect. I put that poster up
Yep, that's
before
why.
we started. You know, Davine Joy Randolph
yeah.
is she. I watched the movie. Well, at least I watched half of the movie. I've been watching so many half movies. So I'm just put that out there. But her performance in that was spectacular, and I was really happy that she won. But it's not to say that Emily Blunt's performance is not amazing
crazy
as
good.
well.
Yeah.
But it's one of those years where Oppenheimer just kind of was gonna walk away with it all.
Yeah.
And you know, it's one of those movies that you wouldn't suspect everybody would come to, because I feel like the initial like weekend of it, people came and saw it, but it wasn't nearly as big as obviously Barbie. But I feel like the weeks leading after it, it really just picked up. Everyone was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, I need to, like, they went to see Barbie, and then they were like, oh, what else is out? Oh yeah, Oppenheimer. And then everybody went like week 2, 3, 4. And that's really when it picked up its pace. And that's when people realized like, oh, like crap. Okay, this is like a really good movie that, from my viewpoint, it is a significant movie for him because of the story it tells and what it means to everybody.
Yeah.
Because everything else is just like really great sci-fi and like superhero movies with really amazing themes. But this movie,
This is real.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally a biography. I mean, it's
amazing.
incredibly well done. And we mentioned Emily Blunt and female actresses before. This is, I think, one of his better written or best written
We've had this debate before.
female actors.
Yeah.
Yes, we have.
Do you know what I'm gonna say?
Yeah, say it.
Yeah.
It's
Let's
a
go for it.
biography.
It's a biography. It's
not an original character.
He didn't.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Yes. I'll give him credit. The way they wrote it and presented her is done right, but there are still scenarios where they don't do it right. There are characters like Florence Pugh in this, really great. Jean was a hell of a lot smarter than they made her out to be, which I feel like they could have touched on a little bit. They do briefly, but they could have done a little bit more there. But it's fine because she's not that's not as important in the story. She's extremely important in terms of who Oppenheimer is. Yeah. But she's not in the movie as much, so it's not necessary. But Emily Blunt is written and portrayed well. Still, she's also very smart and had a very... what did she do? Oh, no. Oh, crap. I can't remember.
But I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I can't remember if she's in the sciences. I just don't remember if it was... I don't remember if it was Jean or her that was a psychologist. I think Jean was the psychologist. I can't remember. It's been a while since I read the book. But regardless, they still kind of don't necessarily show that she's like this really smart, outside of being the mother and husband of Oppenheimer.
The Rock.
I don't think they realize that like they do show that she's the Rock of who he is and like really grounded him in, and they really needed each other, without one another. They talk a lot about in the book about how like they were made for each other. Like it didn't seem like they got along really well, but like in the end, they really did need each other because of the way that they both functioned. It just worked, and people were kind of like, not people were surprised. Not people were like critical of the relationship, but they kind of just went, yeah, it just makes sense. Like, they're just like, it just works, anybody else, if they see them in other relationships, it doesn't make sense. Right. And in that factor, they nailed it. Like the story and the way they wrote that, perfect. But still, you can't necessarily give him all the credit because it's not.
There's so much source material.
Much
for him to work off of.
It's like a 700-page book.
So it's like,
and on top of that, you have Emily Blunt playing the character too, which is going to be portraying it incredibly.
Yeah, of course. I mean, she nailed it for sure.
Yeah.
And she like works hard on every role that she's in. But that doesn't like disregard the fact that like Anne Hathaway got shafted in like both of her movies, and it's okay. You could say one thing is like, the Batman series, fine, whatever. It's a superhero movie. You can maybe write that off. Sure. But Interstellar, I can't defend that. Right. You gotta do something about that. Maybe we'll get something more from Nolan here for the future. We don't know.
I don't know. Nothing's announced, right?
Nothing's announced. He's not. Well, he's a theme park.
Theme park.
He's a theme park.
Theme park.
He's a theme park. What's the theme park under? Like, what's like?
Has to be bullshit.
It was rumors for a theme park, but I have no.
I heard
clue
rumors. They went away and then they came back.
Well, it's because they did that teaser.
Yeah, that little like totem spinning thing.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
But there's no way it's like an Inception sequel because that would completely ruin the first, in my opinion, because it's so open-ended.
If they're gonna do a theme park based off of him, I want a Interstellar just going through the black hole.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be sick.
That's all I want.
On a giant screen.
On a huge screen.
Yeah,
That'd be
man.
insane.
That would be
it's
like the Las Vegas sphere. You're like inside, and you're just going through it.
That'd be insane.
Yeah, do a Nolan theme park, not an Inception theme park.
You have to do all of his rides.
Yeah, but I mean, on
like the bomb
picture,
drop.
You could see like, okay, all right, this is
it's like the haunted house of whatever at Disney.
Oh,
just drop, but it's that, but the bomb. You
like
go
you
to the
literally
bottom.
just have to sign a waiver. It's like, okay, so you write it, but you don't come out.
Yeah. It just gone.
Yeah, but he's been spotted walking around Universal Studios because he's been in contract with them or whatever. But
but I mean, like,
if it were to be attached to a park, it would be Universal.
Yes,
Definitely
for
wouldn't
sure.
be Disney.
Yeah.
So, but that would still be. Does Universal have? Don't they have like? Isn't Epcot Universal stuff?
No. Epcot is
not?
Disney, but
Disney, yeah.
Universal are opening a new
They're
theme
be
park.
opening their own thing.
It's called like Epic or something.
Oh yeah, where it has a bunch of different little groups.
Yeah, exactly.
Ah.
So it's gonna be like a How to Train Your Dragon park and
Because I thought
Nintendo
Harry
park,
Potter was
like-
Universal.
It is.
Yeah.
But that's at Epcot.
No.
Is it not?
No, that's in Universal. It's its own little thing. It's the Wizarding World. Epcot
Was
has
it
like
not a
test
part
track.
of that
It
at
has.
one point? I swear. Okay. Anyways, All right. Sorry. I swear I have like a vague memory. I've been to Universal then, but I thought it was a part of the whole Disney experience. I guess it's also in Florida then.
Yeah. They're like literally 20 minutes apart.
Yeah, okay. So I'm not, okay.
And then SeaWorld is like 15 minutes away as well. Like it's literally all an attraction.
So we will get that they will be in Florida if they, or at least, and then I assume probably California,
Florida, and I think they have like in
probably
Italy
France
and
or something,
Japan and stuff.
Probably won't be like a bunch of them, but it'd be cool to see Nolan just kind of.
I'd love to see like something like a building explode and then come back like Tenet.
That'd be cool. There's a lot of those like you see those like holographic designs in Times Square. You know, the ones that are 3D.
True.
Probably be something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, these people know what they're doing. You know, it's gonna be pretty interesting.
I mean, if they have Nolan signing up, he's probably gonna be like, yeah, let's do it.
And I hope it's
practical.
I hope it's his team behind it too.
Could you imagine?
Because that would just be so Nolan that it's like the same people.
Yeah. That'd be sick. That'd be really cool to see those, just enjoy that. You know what'd be really cool though, actually, of all those things is just an IMAX size screen in the theme park, and you just like you just go to like showtimes of his movies.
That would be insane.
That'd be the only thing I want.
All day they're just
all day they're just playing. Yeah, you walk in, it's Dark Knight, it's like Interstellar. You know, it's like
it's like all his IMAX films.
I don't even care about a ride at that point. I just want to like watch his movies.
Sit down for 12 hours.
That'd be sick.
Like, all right, so the morning we got Interstellar. Right after that we got Inception. Then after that we got Dunkirk.
So cool.
Hello.
Yeah. Okay. I think we covered everything. This was a fun way of getting to know everybody and for you guys to sort of see how how it's done for us
in the good old days.
In the good old days. Yeah. We've been through this a lot. So if you want to see other content similar to this, we have like 8 or 9, maybe 10 episodes similar to this or so, including an Oppenheimer one, a Dark Knight one, an Interstellar one. So we've talked about Nolan and his movies specifically. So if you want to look at those, go take a look at them. They're on the channel. And as always, subscribe if you're new. Leave a like on this. You can always come back to this. If you missed a chunk of this, you can go back right now. I believe YouTube has the ability to do that. Or wait a couple of minutes after this ends and you can go back and watch it. Watch it as many times as you want. And if anybody wants to go back and timestamp all the times Alvaro said something interesting, like
feel free.
Feel free. And we'll see you soon. We'll probably do another one of these in a bit. No official announcement for that yet.
It'll come. It'll come.
This went well.
Yes.
I think people enjoyed, hopefully. So we'll see you soon. Thanks for everything. I gotta like awkwardly go and turn
go and like end it off.
Bye-bye. My mouse can move over there. It's awkward.
Okay.
I'll say bye-bye.
Let's go.